What's going on, everyone? FloWrestling Radio Live, and we kicked Christian Piles out. We said he's not welcome anymore. So this is me and Mr. Raider.
Christian Piles hates all of you listeners at home. He selfishly did not make the walk this Monday morning.
Didn't make the walk. So we got a lot to talk about. It's Christmas season. I was at the U.S. Open. That was a lot of fun. A lot of really good matches. I think that'll probably take up the majority. And I did text you guys last night because you guys know I am a Lions degenerate. I want to bet on the Lions, and I did win again last week. Just FYI.
Well, you tied with Christian.
Well, tied for first place. That's a win in my book.
You went 4-2. Christian went 4-2. I unfortunately went 3-3.
Oh my goodness! I was, the one I felt pretty proud of myself for a few of the picks that I made. There was a few that I was pretty disappointed in, and the one I was most disappointed in was, I thought Lorenzo Norman was going to be able to hold it closer against Mekhi Lewis, and he kind of got his butt kicked.
I got that one right. Major.
That one right.
8-0.
I was the only one that got it wrong. But then Cardenas, I don't know that I said. I think I said exactly that last week that you guys both scoffed at me. You said Cardenas just got beat by Andoni, and I said, but sometimes you got to feel him once, and then the second time you know it, and then the second time you knew it. And he actually majored Bryce Andonian.
I know. He put it on him 15-7. So, it wasn't even close.
Big results there. And then the one that we did not, we had a line on, but we did not get to see happen. But Adrian Ventresca did not wrestle. They pulled Cooper Flynn's red shirt, and he beats Nico Provo, who had been number one in the country.
125. It keeps being a pain in my ass as a ranker. And I think this decision to pull Flynn.
Cooper Flynn number one?
Cooper Flynn to number one? I don't know. Probably not. Not. But because wasn't Cooper Flynn in the Senior Nationals entries
and he was
ago?
Olympic redshirted.
He was Olympic redshirting, but this wasn't even a thought until late in the week. Obviously, Ventresca had been struggling quite a bit so far this season, and Cooper Flynn's not a first-year guy, so this isn't one of his 5 events. Yeah. His shirt's officially pulled. And it seems like a smart decision after one match.
After one match, it looks pretty good. And the other one, listen, dude, I was sleep deprived because I had a long weekend. I came home early to coach Sunday practices and stuff, and I didn't get to see it. But apparently, Jory Volk beat Richie Figs on a controversial takedown, and I have not got to watch it yet. So,
Tyler, you can pull this one up. I put the link.
Perfect.
I put the link in the doc. It occurs with about a minute and a half left in the third. I normally default to the officials got it right because I'm just not a smart person. Officials make a lot more calls than me. I normally default to them. In this case, though, I don't think they got it right. They got rid.
That means I'm going to have a very strong feeling about it. If you think that,
correct.
Then, yeah.
They got rid of riding time. Or not writing time. I'm sorry, reaction time.
Yes.
So it was a writing time situation here. If you're just listening, it was in the third period, and Volk is coming around. I just sent you the link, Tyler.
Yeah, I can't see it on my screen yet.
Volk is coming around on a go behind. They're from neutral, and Figs holds on to his arm. He has like an underhook from front headlock. Figs rolls underneath and slips under the leg. Now, you can pause it, and Volk is behind his hips, but I didn't
Generally, they make you clear the arm, for sure.
I didn't think it was beyond reaction time. But then, here's the weird thing to me. This occurs with like a minute and a half, minute left, and Figs ends up getting a reversal. Like, he ends up on top after this roll. Okay. But the 3 and 2 makes it 5-4 in favor of Volk.
Yeah.
Figs
which would have been 4-4 in the old rule set.
Figs then rides him for like 30 seconds before cutting him, which was not necessary. Riding time
Yeah,
was not
it's
over a
weird.
minute, and then he's unable to get the takedown at the end. Here, Tyler,
Dang.
that's the sequence right there. Tyler.
Okay. We're pulling it in. All right, let's watch this.
Yep,
Full screen it.
we're pulling it in
All
right
right,
here. So you
boom.
see Volk's got that underhook on the right
Yep,
side,
yep.
comes behind. Figs kind of Grambies.
No
They
way.
went takedown
Not.
there, and then Figs ends up on top, so they go reversal. They reviewed it
Yeah.
and confirmed 3 for Volk, 2
Really?
reversal.
Play it one more time. Tyler, can you play it one more time? Maybe full screen it. Um, yeah, I mean, I feel like that is too early to establish a takedown. It's, so he's got the arm, he rolls through, and then at no point is Bulk actually on top. He's on the side, right? He's hanging off the side, trying to establish control, attempting to establish control, but never fully establishes control at all there. So, I will go with your side. I say no takedown.
Yeah, and like you said, this just continues to 125 continues to be the weight of chaos.
Yeah.
That this was Fig's first tournament back this season. That was out at Reno. He won his 3 other matches, but it wasn't against
No one
any
very
like top
good.
10
I
guys.
just
Yeah.
look.
So Kozak and me got to decide what we're gonna do with these
Well, I'm gonna
these
look at your
guys after
rankings right
this.
now. Who are your choices to go number one there?
Let me take a look here and pull it up. Camacho probably. Figueroa
Probably
was
Camacho.
3, but he just lost to Volk, who's currently at number 11. So Figueroa's probably going to drop a couple spots. Volk come up a couple spots.
Man, I can't find your rankings. I'm struggling here.
But I mean, Jory Volk just lost to Noah Certain
That was only a
last
week ago,
week.
so you can't
I
put him too
know
high.
who he's right behind right now. So
I think Noah
Ramos
Certain only
is
has
probably
one loss.
excuse me.
He lost
Figueroa is
to
probably just going to drop.
yeah, I think Certain lost to the Cal Poly kid. Maybe is that who his loss is?
He lost to So
Um,
Certain's off to a good
but
start this year.
yeah, I think you got to go Jacob Camacho because man, Ramos has multiple losses at this point.
Correct.
Noto's got at least a loss also. Man, everyone kind of is taking losses already because Steve-O's got a loss. Dang, what a disaster of a wait.
I know.
Camacho won for sure.
Yep, Jacob Camacho won, even though he did not compete at CKLV,
That's what you got to do.
which is annoying, but that's what you got to
Yeah.
do, I guess. But yeah, like I was saying, I don't
Is
know
Camacho
why.
gonna have any tough matches at the Collegiate Duals? Because I believe NC State is there today.
Their 2 big matches are UNI and Ohio State, so he'll have McCrone, and
Not
who
even
is
ranked too high.
UNI's? 41. Trevor Anderson, I think. So
Yeah.
he should probably go 2-0 there.
Okay. Got it. All right. Let's talk about the U.S. Open. I mean, there wasn't too much college stuff this weekend. U.S. Open. I guess I want to start with 65 because I thought that was the most fun. I was down there coaching.
I think Andrew
Connor.
Alirez is the story kind of coming
Yeah,
out of Fort
absolutely.
Worth.
But 65 was so fun because I was coaching Connor and Cole, and mostly I was kind of hanging out in the back. But when 65 came up, I'm like, hey guys, I'm gonna go watch 65 kilograms, and I'll
You
come
gotta-
back down
yeah, you gotta go
right
see what's
afterwards. So you're not worried about me or nothing. But I want to go. I want to go see these from the round of 16. It was good matches, and I want to see them.
Yeah, 65 was the way to the tournament. We said that going in, lived up to the hype. I don't think
Yes.
anybody was super surprised to see Andrew Alirez, Bo Bartlett in the final, but
No.
Bo Bartlett over McKenna, while maybe not super surprising, it is still an interesting result.
Yeah. Yeah, Bartlett looked good, specifically looked good on top. He had that tech fall over Pletcher first round, which included a couple turns. He beat Kolodzic and then McKenna back to back 5-5. I'm blanking on the Kolodzic match if he got a takedown on a turn or a takedown. But I believe in the McKenna match, didn't he get a takedown to a turn, or am I going crazy here?
It was into a leg lace, correct?
No, it was a 4-pointer. It was a 4-pointer, but that's what it was. Yeah, so he got the 4-pointer, and then McKenna couldn't take him down at all. McKenna had
You're right,
5-1.
because he took McKenna, he brought his leg up, took him to the edge, and McKenna kind of relaxed, I think, and thought he was just going to give up a step out, and he went big club on the head and took him to the back. Yeah.
Yes, that's what it was. Yeah.
That was
So
nice.
that was a good match. Aiden Valencia, I'm just going to kind of go run through the round of 16 matches. Aiden Valencia, him and Seth Gross was a lot of fun because, they were in a lot of wrestling positions, and Seth he was like almost there on a bunch of them, and then Seth went on a big backside run, and Valencia lost to DeSanto on the backside, maybe. Is that who it was? Yep, lost to DeSanto. So he took eighth. DeSanto then lost to McKenna. He was in some fun matches. Him and Ashnault, they mixed up the Ashnault Ironman match on the front side was a lot of fun. So there's just so many good matches.
Did you think that should have been called a pin?
Oh yeah,
the
probably.
Ashnault Ironman one.
Well, there's a okay, look, not to rag on the referees, but sometimes it's not the referee's fault. It's a flawed process, right? Okay, and I'll tell you exactly why it's flawed. Because if the on the mat guy calls a fall, okay, by definition, what he has to do is confirm that fall. He has to look away from the action, okay? And then, sometimes if the guy over there, if he doesn't confirm it right away, he will continue to look at that man to say, like, are you seeing a pin? And so he's not even looking at what's happening right now. And the guy over there is saying, did he pin him earlier? Because I'm trying to confirm what you called, but now you're not looking at what's going on. So I just generally hate 3-man mechanics. I don't think it's a good process. I think there should be one referee that has the responsibility, and obviously we have a review already. So if we don't think he got it right, we can go to the review. But the fact that the on the mat referee has to look away from the action while it's not happening, and then sometimes, like I said, a couple sequences, and this is right. This goes to Nick Wisdowski, who's whining about this. And unfortunately, I don't want to whine about it because I don't have a way to solve for it. And if I did, I would whine about it. But we have inexperienced people on the computers updating scores, right? So lots of times when a score happens is when they'll go to their back. So the referee is calling the score. And then the table judge is also making sure that the person on the computer has it right. So sometimes they look away for a split second when the actions happen, and then they have to look back, right? So there's all these things happening where that probably shouldn't be the sequence in which things are happening. So yeah, they're going to miss some falls because of that process. And yes, they missed that one.
Generally speaking, the mat official is going to have the best view.
By far, they're right on top of it.
Of the person's back. I do like 3-person mechanics prior to having official review. Like I think it was a good process, especially in freestyle when you have to determine like initiation a lot. I think 3-man mechanics is good then, but now when we can kind of go back and review those really tricky situations, it maybe kind of seems like 1-man mechanics might be the way to go. And like you said, they have to, the mat official literally has to look away from the action to confirm falls. The only instance where it would be better is if, say, big move happens, mat official doesn't have the view of the wrestler's back because maybe action went to the opposite side away from him, right in front of table. Table can confirm it, but even still, in that situation, the mat
guy still has to call in that circumstance, though.
Yes, so he has to run around behind, see the back, and then confirm. So even in that scenario, 1-man mechanics is still probably the way to go. So I kind of agree with you. I don't think that's.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing with 3 mechanics, I didn't want to get into 3-man mechanics, but we got the P&L, and I'm saying like, listen, this is our league. We can do what we want. I want to get rid of 3-man mechanics, and I just constantly like try to badger them to get rid of it. But some of them are for it, so I don't think we're gonna do it. But the other thing with 3-man mechanics, my biggest problem. Now we're getting into this is like Ben Therapy Radio Live. is and I've had multiple referees tell me this. There's an on the mat one, there's a chair, and then there's a third referee on the opposite side, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I have been told multiple times the guy who's on the opposite side, so the non-chair, their job, and they literally say, this is what I'm supposed to do. I'm told to do this. They're supposed to give the chair options. And in my view, that is like the worst thing possible because, if we're gonna have three-man mechanics, the point is to say, how does the majority see this, right? And if you suck at refereeing, we shouldn't have you on the mat anyway. So if we don't trust you, why would we have you out there?
Right.
So if you see it the same way the guy on the mat sees it, then the problem's solved. 2 of 3 people agreed. We don't even need to talk to the chair, right? Like, why do we need to talk to him? So if 2 people agree on what the action was, then the chair shouldn't get to decide. But if I feel that my job, I am supposed to call something different than what the on the mat referee called, then I'm purposely doing something that I don't think is happening, right? So I don't think it was a 4, but I'm throwing up a 4 because I think I'm supposed to give that guy options. But I actually think it was 2. Well, if I think it's 2 and he thinks it's 2, it should be 2 because 2 of 3 agree.
I have actually never heard officials say that.
Yeah, I grill them on it sometimes. So I've heard multiple officials say the third guy's job is to give the chair options. So then you're giving the chair too much power.
Now, I don't necessarily hate that if it's like an action of out of bounds and it happens right in front of the chair and you're like, I couldn't really see when his entire foot went out of bounds, so you have a better call. But then we're getting into some really tricky, slippery slope type stuff.
Yeah, slippery slope. So yeah, I would prefer to go to 1 with a couple good reviewers. That would be great. It would really, really, really be better, I believe. And the table worker thing is like Scott Cleaver has said, pay them and train them. I wish we had pro table workers. I wish that wrestling we were like the NFL. The NFL's they got pro yardsmen, right? That their literal job is to move the sticks.
Yes, yardsmen. That's their name.
Oh, is that what are they called?
Chain gang.
Chain gang. Chain gang. They're not in jail, JD. Come on.
They're in NFL jail.
Bro, it would be so awesome if we had paid table workers that we could actually give them something like, I don't know, $500 and pay for their trip. Something where they're like a regular family's like, dude, yeah, I'll go on that trip. Like I'll go watch wrestling and get paid $500. Like that's awesome. So something to that effect. And and maybe not for every rinky-dink tournament, but for the big important ones, let's have people we trust and let's have people that are good and let's pay them. I mean, I don't know, like USA Wrestling is probably making enough money, $500 a table that weekend. It's only $3,000. That ain't that much for them. Come on.
Now I do think at these big USA Wrestling, I wasn't in Fort Worth, so I'm not sure, but a lot of times they use the same table workers. I mean, they're still volunteer.
Pretty sure it was volunteer.
Yeah, they're always volunteer.
They're always volunteer.
Even at NCAAs, they're volunteers. They're knowledgeable volunteers.
Let's get some pro table workers
who have done it before, but they're still volunteers.
Yeah, and speaking of, I want to pay the referees more also.
I mean,
I would love to pay the referees.
It'd be great if everybody could
more.
get paid more. It's just the money doesn't exist.
No, I think it does. I can't look through USA Wrestling's finances right now, but I think if we place enough value on it, I think we could find the money for it.
Maybe, but everybody wants a little more. This should be paid more. There should be more resources into this and.
Well, I mean, in my estimates, I can't bitch about it unless I'm willing to create a solution, and that's my solution. And I do believe the money to be there. And we do in P&L, we do pay the referees more because we are trying to get the best ones. So we pay them more than normal.
Well, that's good. I do think a lot of officials.
We've not paid table workers yet, but I am in favor. I want to get the best table workers, so it just freaking smooth as butter, runs great. All right, back to wrestling. That was my therapy session. Appreciate that, JD.
All right, back to 65.
You know what else was
we
wild?
We just scratched the surface. What?
McKenna was killing Ironman.
Yes.
And then Ironman hit a big 4-pointer at the end of the period, and then kind of was really competitive. It was 10-8 at the end, right? And he gave up the last couple points, but That was like, it was kind of like McKenna was steamrolling, and then Ironman brought it back, and it was a really fun match.
That was a really fun match. 10-8 was the final on that one. Quarter, I'm pretty sure that one was. That was right after, Ironman. He, like I said, he might have been pinned against Ashnall, and I think he gave that up early and then stormed back and ended up winning pretty handily.
That match was crazy too, because there was a couple sequences that I didn't necessarily love how they were called. And with Jaden Ironman, he's always been in these crazy scrambles, right? So you're just like Yanni, you're going to always have these wild sequences that are very difficult to score. So yeah, but then I want to say it was really in the balance till the very end, and I want to say Ironman got maybe a whole bunch of turn. It's 15-6 is the final score, but it was, let's see, what in the heck is on this scoreboard? So it's so in the last 25 for Ironman, it shows to be 6-4 McKenna with 25 seconds left, and somehow he gets +2, +2, +1, +1, +1, +4. Something is wrong on this score chart. But Ashnalt was winning with not a lot of time left, and Ironman scored a whole bunch of points. So I believe it was 6-4, and Ironman scores 9 points or something ridiculous in the last couple seconds.
Yeah, absurd.
Yeah.
And the big question a lot of people are asking, we had an official question about it too from Slink, is, so how does Alirez stack up against Yanni and Nick Lee? Bray said it on the call. You don't want to play the transitive game too much, but Bo Bartlett literally got his hand raised against Nick Lee, and then Alirez blows him out 8-0. So how does he
and
stack
you know
up
what, the
against
8-0, so I didn't get to watch it live because I was coaching practice. 8-0 wasn't as bad as I was assuming. So it was a takedown to a lace for 6, right? Takedown lace for 6, and then another takedown.
In the first.
But the other side of it would be Bartlett, I don't believe ever even got close to a score.
No.
Never, right?
Never.
So, man, Alirez is good. He did have to come back from behind, and actually Petelio fell off on the backside.
He did.
I think that's probably I'm gonna push it.
He's not qualified.
Yeah, to the weight cut is what I would push it to. But he had to. So let's see. I'm gonna pull up Alirez was down 3-0 and got 2 takedowns in the last 90 seconds to win. So he really had to come back. Petelio actually, I mean, early he looked good. He beat Valencia kind of easy, and he was looking really good in that Alirez match. And Alirez came back. Yeah, and then on the backside he lost to. No, he was beating Gross, and he got, was it a trap arm? I believe it was a trap arm, and Gross scored yeah, he was up 6-0, and Gross scored 16 points.
Gross is weird.
Wild, right?
So how do you think Alirez stacks up against Yanni and Nick Lee?
Great. I mean, I don't know that I'm gonna make him the favor right now, but if we're making money lines and we say, hey, here's the money line of everyone on the field, he's right below them. Like he's very, very close. I'm not putting, Yanni here, Nick Lee here, and then him way down here, or Nick Lee the other side of that, right? I'm gonna go like boom, 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 like right next to each other for the 3 of them. And the other person that said he's coming down, right?
Who?
James Green said 3rd time's the charm. It's gonna be different. He's got a new hip. I can speak for having new hips, dude. I felt so much better. So if James Green was performing that well, and his hip was really that detrimental to his performance, which I could say for me it was, he can actually make the weight, which that's kind of always been the question, right? He's going to be dangerous at 65. So I want to see that one play out. Is he qualified already then?
James Green, yes, he is.
Okay. So, because if not, then him and Pantaleo would both have to go to the last chance.
No, just Pantaleo. James Green is competing pretty soon, though. I remember he said he was competing at DeGlane or one of the upcoming international tournaments in January. I forget which one.
Man, last chance though. Klodzik is not qualified, correct?
Correct.
Ironman. I
No,
don't
yeah,
think
he
so.
fell off in the consolations. Yep.
Yep. Aiden Valencia, Luke Pletcher, Anthony Ashnault, like Alec Pantelio. This dude, that last chance at 65 is going to be stacked.
It's gonna be tough.
So good.
Some weights, it's you know not gonna be great. 65. 65
Really,
is the
really good.
deepest weight in the world, and America follows suit.
Yes, 100%. All right. Let's see. Where else you want to go? You want to just go back and go in weight order?
Yeah. Let's go.
Fit.
I don't want to move off Alirez,
Okay.
Yanni, Nickley just yet because I love Alirez's style matchup against Yanni.
Is
Like,
that because he gets to the leg and comes up so fast? Because
yes,
he's about as quick to the leg and up as anyone.
he's very good at avoiding those scrambles that Yanni is good in.
Yes, 100%.
Because he is so fast and powerful and just so sound basically. He
Yeah.
doesn't do anything super flashy, anything super good. It's just that good kind of misdirection, hop to the outside single and that blast
Mhm.
double that he has, but
Yeah. No, he's
he's good
quick,
at
he's
it.
powerful, and he comes up very quickly with the legs. Yeah, and his lace transitions are great also. So, um, yeah, I think he poses a threat. I think, yeah, he's right there in with those guys. I would not be surprised at all if he were to make the team.
Yeah. Okay.
Uh,
Now we
okay,
can move on.
57. I don't know. There's a ton to talk about. Liam Cronin third,
Other
DeShazer
than where
fourth.
was Nick Siriano?
Uh, he just didn't show up.
Very bizarre.
Well, I mean, I guess at this point, are we expecting anything different?
That's true. It's
Right?
on brand, but still
Very on
bizarre because
brand.
now he has to go to last chance. He's not qualified.
Bro, he ain't gonna make it to the
Yeah.
last chance. Come on, I'll bet you on this one.
What do you mean? He has to.
Like he won't find it, or he won't get on the plane, or it almost reminds me of a Diaz brother a little bit. Like they would give him plane tickets, and he just would like miss the flight like over and over and over again.
It's always
Um,
something.
yeah. So I've been hearing this is the case with Suriano. Is he misses a lot of flights.
He did get COVID last Olympic trials.
Yeah, we could get that too. So yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm out on him until I see him competing more frequently at this weight class.
Well, it was just yeah. I guess it's on brand for him, but it's just bizarre to even enter. And then when the seeds came out the day before and there was no Nick Suriano, it was like, oh, he didn't get missed in the seeds. But
Yeah.
I don't know what it was. I don't know why he didn't show up. I don't know if it was weight, sickness, injury, what. But he knew because the USA Wrestling Committee that did the seeds knew. So
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's unfortunate. But 757, Spencer beats Nico again, but it was a very competitive match. There were some fun sequences, good scrambles. They're both very tricky and bendy and flexible. Um, I think Spencer's established himself as being better than Nico. I think some people thought he's going to blow Nico out. That's just not the case. He's got two attempts at it now. Spencer now is going to have to go through a really tough field at trials. I'm
mm-hmm.
assuming Vito's going to be in there. Gilman's going to be in there. Fix is going to be in there. Nico's going to be in there. I got to assume
Richards,
there's who?
Zane Richards.
Zane Richards. Yes. Yeah. So it's going to be a very good field he's going to be battling. Can he do it? Yeah. Am I making him the favorite? And I think no on that one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. Until he beats one of those top guys, you're probably going to give the nod to Gilman. Gilman or Vito is probably the odds-on favorite on paper. I know Richards just made the team, but when you
Yeah.
look at what he did internationally compared to what Gilman had done the past couple of years before that, a lot of people are still going to be picking Gilman or Vito. The unfortunate thing about Vito is we don't get to see him at the
At
weight
that weight class.
prior to
Yeah. Skill for
Olympics.
skill, I mean, freestyle wise, how he looked at Worlds. Um, that is the best we've had an American who will be at 57. That's the best we've ever had
Mm-hmm.
one perform, right? I mean, he looked so freaking good. But again, weight classes matter, and can he get down and be highly functional at 57? Because, a couple of years ago we saw him at that weight class, and it wasn't exactly, um, he had his weight cuts where he didn't make it well and didn't look good afterwards. They like to say the Patrick Glory match.
Which, shameless plug, I don't know if you saw prior to the Senior Nationals finals, we ran a Vito trailer. We got a new Vito film coming out
Oh,
here, I think in January or February. Maybe don't quote me on that. But Bader followed him around for the better part of a year at
what a stalker.
Worlds and NCAAs and got a bunch of good stuff. And he kind of talks about those ups and downs and why he's wrestling so good now.
What does he say? Give me a couple snippets.
I have not seen the entire
Oh
thing, but
man.
weight was a big thing, and he worked with a psychologist. I think that kind of just unlocked. He was putting a lot of pressure on himself too. The basic things, kind of just what you would expect.
Hmm.
So, but
Okay.
gonna be a good film because he talks a lot about like growing up with a world champion father too, and the pressure he felt from that as
Yeah.
well to be great. And now he's just wrestling.
Nice. Okay, let's talk about 74. 74, Quincy Monday. He's the guy here. Um, Not really super competitive matches. I think the Zap match was close for maybe a little bit of it. And he pulled away in the second period. He went 6 over JQs and then 14-2 over Alex Marinelli in the finals.
That was a nice
Um,
foot prop Marinelli hit on him to take him down first.
did get one take. Yeah, he got a takedown. Um, but then it was all Monday. And someone said, where do we put what tier do we put Monday in? Dude, this weight class is so ridiculous because in if we did tiers, right? Tier one, Dake's on tier one island. I don't care what anyone says about that. He is, right? And then tier two, you got Nolf and Burrows. And I don't know that I'm willing to put Keegan on that island yet. I think, can he be there? Yes, right? But he's got
Mm-hmm.
to go prove it, and he hasn't done it against guys of that caliber yet. And then you got, a Mitchell who's a junior world champion also. So it's like, man, you have so many good guys who are already qualified at this weight class. Um, in Quincy Monday against the 165 field last year, like he wasn't quite on that Keegan level. And I think he didn't beat Carr at all, right?
No.
He never beat Carr. So probably like just below that is what I would say. And does he have the ability to elevate? Yeah, for sure,
He's
right?
definitely gotten better
Um,
since last year.
he definitely appears. The Nolf match was, I think more competitive than most people assumed it was going to be at NYC. So yeah, I think he's really good. He looked great at this tournament. Could definitely elevate himself moving into the trials.
I think the story for me from this weight is actually two things. Facundo coming back for third.
Hey, and I called that. I called it, Christian Piles. You were dismissive of my prediction there.
And Berger qualifying, but at the fifth spot. Um, I think Berger is better suited for 70 kilograms, but I thought he would maybe be a little bit more competitive at 74, and that just hasn't proven to be the case.
You know who's gotten
for
so
Bill
much
Farrell.
better, JD?
Who?
Jarrett JQs.
Yeah, he had a really good tournament.
He never placed it. He was never an All-American in college. I don't even know if he made the blood round. Um, but yeah, he took fourth place to Facundo. I believe he made the semis. Man,
He
like he had a pretty
Shields and
good
Sealy lost to Monday, and then came back for fourth
beat
place.
Bear Claw. Well, Bear Claw had a tournament too because Bear Claw beat man, Penn State's got they got problems, right? Because they got
He
Mitchell's
beat
was starting
Berger on the front
65, but then
side.
they got Facundo, Olympic redshirt, and they got Bear Claw, who took sixth here, right? Almost qualified. And then they got Sealy coming in also, who took eighth here.
Yeah, talk about
It's so
depth.
crazy. Who else? Bear Claw beat Berger on the front side.
Mm-hmm.
And then lost to
For the
Facundo,
win.
and that match was really competitive. Yeah, Facundo got a takedown with a minute left to win that one, 3-2.
And then on the backside, Bear Claw beat Yaya Thomas and Joey
Yes.
LaValle.
Yeah. So
So
impressive performance by him, and Penn State's they're pretty deep at some of those weight classes.
yeah, it was a fun one to follow, but kind of like you were saying, no, not too much offense to these guys, but even Quincy Monday, he's a couple tiers down
Yes.
from the top guys
Yeah,
at this
and
weight.
he's young, and he could definitely elevate and get better, but at this point, that's kind of where he's at, I think.
The big story at 86 was your boy Mirasola. He had himself a
Man,
tournament.
he had himself a tournament, so he beat Max Dean on the first, which that match was crazy. I told him I was so proud of him because he's tough. He goes hard, right? But like his body wore out in the match against Max Dean. He got a
It was
5-0.
close. It was
And his body wore out, and I told him at the break, I'm like, Max Dean's tired. Max Dean's a freaking winner. He is not going to stop trying to win. He is going to come at you, and you need to compete really hard this period, even though you're up 5-0, right?
mhm.
And he was just like he was feeling it, and he got a double at the end to win, which was wild. Um, and then he kind of started shooting himself out of the Mark Hall match, but Mark Hall's very good. He actually took the lead for a minute in the second period, and then Mark scored on a high crotch or what was it? I don't remember. Maybe an ankle pick, and then he started shooting himself out of the match a little bit. But yeah, I mean, Connor is still 17 years old, a young high school kid, right? He's graduating. He's going to be 18 soon, but finishes fourth place and qualifies for the trials here. So yeah,
Yeah,
that was awesome.
Max did get him on the backside for third.
Max beat him for third. Yeah.
Yeah, but that goes to show you when that happened. I was like, wow, Connor looked really good, but is Max Dean maybe a little past his prime? Not training super hard. Just okay, I'll go through the cycle, whatever.
Yeah.
But it seems like Max, like we said, came back for third.
Yeah. I
It's
mean, he's not that old, right? He only
yeah,
graduated
recent
last year,
graduate.
right?
I mean, Connor finished ahead of Evan Wick, McFadden, Lujan,
Cam Caffey.
Cam Caffey, Coleman,
Yeah.
Owen Webster, Morgan McIntosh, all these tough
Yeah.
guys. Josh
It was a
Barr.
crazy bracket.
So 86 was a crazy deep bracket,
Hmm.
and Connor Mirasola, he's right in the mix. He's going to be a huge factor come 2028. Like,
Yes.
might be the guy.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm excited for. So we still have, obviously him and his brother and Aiden are all junior eligible this year, so they're all really excited for that. Um, and then he gets to spread out
As a
because like
17-year
Cole,
old, he'll be junior eligible next year too, right?
he's 2 more years junior
Two
eligible.
more
Yes,
years,
2 more
yeah.
years, 2 more years, and he's a December 30th birthday, so he's like 2 days away from being 3 more years junior eligible.
Dang.
Um, yeah, I know, right? So, yeah, no, he did a great job. Yeah, I'm really excited to see. Obviously, Kale has done a masterful job with a lot of upper weights, specifically at Penn State, and Connor's an upper weight. He's already having a ton of success. So I'm very excited to see what they can do with him.
86 will be another fun weight at Last Chance because you've got guys like McFadden, Lujan, Coleman in the mix. Josh
Aiden
Barr,
Sinclair's gonna be in the mix.
Aiden
Aiden
Sinclair.
Sinclair's six
Let's go,
days too
Bubba.
young. He was really sad he couldn't compete at the Senior Open.
But he can compete at Last Chance?
Correct, because he's born in 2006, so he can't compete in any senior level tournaments in 2005. In 2023, he cannot compete in any because he's not an 18-year-old, right, by birth year. But in 2006, he is.
That is bizarre that they wouldn't
It
make an
is bizarre.
exception for an Olympic trials qualifier when you're old enough to compete at the Olympic trials.
That's what I think they should do next time. Probably they should make an
It
exemption
probably
where
wasn't even considered.
yeah, I don't if you are eligible at the Olympic trials by age, you should be eligible to try to qualify in the qualifying attempts because now for him there's only one next year. It's only last chance and that's it.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, it probably just wasn't even a thought because it's such a unique circumstance for only a couple people
Yeah.
where it really
Right,
matters
you're
where
right.
that birthday falls in the first couple months of 2024 to
Well, no, it's by
18.
USA Wrestling is everything by birth year. So anyone born in 2006, he
Right.
he just so happens to be a early January, right? But anyone born in 2006 would not be eligible to have competed at these ones. But then if you're born in 2005, you are. So now, if you're born in 2006, you can compete in any senior level event next year.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, yeah, that should be a fun bracket at Last Chance. There'll be a lot of people very deep.
Mm-hmm. At 97, it was the Colin Moore show. He won fairly handily, really not even contested. I think his closest match was the JIL semifinal, and that was 5-0.
Yeah. JL is getting better, man, because he kind of beat up on Cole Mirasola at the Bill Farrell. And yeah, I didn't really, I mean, I knew he's good, right? But I maybe didn't expect that much out of him. And then he came all the way back and took third place. He beat Warner, he beat Cassiope, he beat Eric Schultz to take third place. So he's getting better. He looked really good.
Yep. That was 97. Not a whole lot.
How about Cassiope beat Warner for fifth place?
Yeah.
And that I said because I don't know what it was, but we did not have Colin Moore and Nate Jackson on the list. So I was saying I think Cassiope and Warner would both be, I don't know if we called them favorites or guys who would challenge, right? Something to that effect. And I said I thought Cassiope would be able to beat Warner because he'd have the big brother because he's been
that match wasn't close.
Yeah.
11-0.
11-0. And he looked gigantic at this weight class. So, yeah, it was so Warner will be at the Last Chance. Not super deep here. Cole's obviously going. So Cole lost to Louis DePerez and Cassiope. So hopefully he can qualify at the Last Chance.
Hopefully.
And then our man Dom Bradley gets another U.S. Open title.
Mm-hmm.
This is his 17th U.S. Open.
Absurd.
What is the record, JD? He's got to be getting close, unless there's. I don't know what it is about Greco. I was complaining. Listen, there's all kinds of old men like roofers who just show up to wrestle in the Greco portion. Like, I mean, I was there for it's women's and Greco on the first day, and I was there, and I would like. Wait, he's wrestling? Why is he wrestling in a senior level? Like, he's gonna get hurt. He shouldn't be out here. Like, you should have to pass a fitness test to be able to compete in a senior level tournament or something.
Hey, shout out to our man Eric Hinkley because he won first round.
Was it?
I'm serious.
Was it against a different roofer?
It was against Cameron Hudson, a man I had never seen compete before.
Okay.
I'm not sure of his profession, but.
Dude, there were some people out there competing who maybe looked like they should not have been out there competing.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
But hey, they get to chase their Olympic dreams.
So anyway, as I was saying, we should make a category most U.S. Opens, but it should be like most U.S. Opens in which you're actually competitive with the field or something, because I bet there are some of these old roofers who've been like, Don Bradley's been in 17. I've been in 37 U.S. Opens.
The question for me at 125 was why no Kirkfleet? He was entered, and then
Bernie.
Yeah, and Bernie. You're right at 86. You got to think. Probably, I don't even know if I want to say minor injuries, but just okay. Let's focus on NCAAs here because some of the Penn State guys were there. It wasn't a full team decision to not show up, and starters too. Bo Bartlett.
Let me ask you this: do you think?
But K-Sac didn't show up either.
Yeah. Do you think potentially with Kirkfleet, they're saying his chances of winning an NCAA title just kind of went through the roof, right?
Right.
So given that is a qualifier, the champion of the NCAAs is a qualifier, and he's very likely to do that. Man, you're saying like, let's just let him do that, and he'll probably win there, right?
I think that's probably the case.
Yeah.
I think it's actually more interesting K-Sac didn't show up because I think that shows that it is likely he might be the guy this year. They said, hey, you are going to be the guy for us this year. We want you focusing on folk style, and if you go win an NCAA title for us this year, you're qualified. But it's going to be a tough time for you here at 65 kilograms this weekend. There's a bunch of tough guys. Let's focus on you winning an NCAA title this year.
Yeah, I think that's probably fair. And we already do know that Van Ness is out for the entirety of the year. So, yeah, I think that's probably what happened.
And I don't think the last chance is actually on the schedule.
It is not
Yet. But you got to think it'll be
hold
the
on.
weekend after
I believe there's a
NCAAs, right?
date on the calendar. I thought it was the week before NCAAs, but I don't believe they had a location. I'll go look right now.
I'm looking at the calendar right
You're saying
now,
no?
and I don't see it.
I swear. So I swear. Okay, so USA Folk Style 16U and Junior Nationals is on March 15th in Cedar Falls. I swear it was on that weekend, and that would make sense because that's where they'd held it before.
Right. Yep.
So it would make sense if they did it there in Iowa on that
I think
weekend.
it'd be wise to do it the last weekend in March after NCAAs, though. It has
Why
to
would
be.
that? Oh, because then those guys who did not compete. Man, I feel like you're not going to have very many dudes who compete in the NCAA tournament, and then the next weekend are like, hey, let me go qualify.
You're not.
You know, like.
You didn't win an NCAA title. Like, are you really going to go win Olympic trials a month later?
Yeah.
I agree, but maybe if you made it, like, that's just what sucks about the NCAA schedule and the Olympic schedule not perfectly aligning. Like, maybe if you put it a month later, like last chance a month later.
But JD, those guys who were really, really, really good could have went. They could have went to the Bill Farrell. They could have went to the Senior Open, right?
True.
I mean, and honestly, like, we didn't see a lot of college superstars at the Senior Open this weekend. But if you go Senior Open, and then you go home for Christmas, like you're gonna have some time off, and just say maybe you don't wrestle. If your team was gonna go to Scuffle or Midlands, maybe you just say I'm wrestling the Senior Open. I'm gonna skip the Scuffle or Open, and then I'm gonna, I'll be back for duels in January, right? So, like, that could have definitely happened if that was something they really wanted to do.
I do think you would see at least a couple of guys at each weight who go, I'll at least toss my hat in the ring. They're not tossing their hat in the ring here because they're focused on the NCAA season. They're not even really thinking about it. But guys who are just going, whatever, I'm still in the room. Like maybe they took a week off. I've been in the room. I'll toss my hat in the ring at least.
Yeah, that ain't even gonna be a week off. If you do it the week after, that ain't even a week off because you get home from NCAAs on, depending on where you live, Sunday night probably.
Yeah.
Right, and then you probably got to leave for the last chance on like Wednesday or Thursday.
That's what I'm saying.
Right?
That's why it would have to be like a month later.
Yeah. Because that's gonna be a quick turnaround.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm. All right. That is. What's up?
That was Senior Nationals.
Mike at 74 said, was 74 a relatively weak way to Senior Nationals? Are Facundo and JQ's just much better freestyle? I think the answer is Facundo's better freestyle. JQ's has clearly made some improvements after 2 tournaments. I think it's evident to see that to be the case.
Mm-hmm.
But as we mentioned when we were talking about Quincy Monday, there's kind of some tiers at 74. There's some really, really good guys that are above the field that was here today. So yes, I think those guys are good, but there is people who are really good who weren't there.
Yep. We kind of touched on some of the stuff that happened this weekend. Mm-hmm. There really wasn't a whole lot of college stuff this weekend. Like we said, Nebraska did beat South Dakota State 21-17. Our picks from that one were 125. Caleb Smith did beat Tanner Jordan, but he did not cover the 3.5 line. So we all lost that one because we all picked Smith. At 165, Antrell Taylor beat Tanner Cook handily. So we all got that one correct.
Yep.
And then at 184, I set the line at 7.5 for Pinto over Berge. He only beat him by 6. So UNCP got me on that one.
I thought it was 4. Was it 6?
8-2.
8-2. All right, got it. I thought it was 8-4. I don't know why I thought that. All right. And what are our lines for today? I don't see them in there.
Down below. So I put the schedule in there, and then
Well,
look.
usually you have
They're
them on
not.
the pick
They're not.
sheet.
I know they're not on the pick sheet. I kind of did them last second this morning, so I'll put them in the pick sheet after this. But
Hey,
they're right
and I
below
guess I
in the
want
doc.
there's one more question here from Brendan Inc. And he said, "What would Flynn have been ranked had he not been redshirting?" Um, he did not have a super great year last year. He lost twice to Ventreska in overtime. He also lost it. He actually lost to Nico Provo in overtime in the duel. Braxton Brown lost to Matt Ramos. It does appear to be an overtime, right? So he's a guy, and he got pinned by Colton Camacho. So he's a guy who is good, but uh, 25 somewhere in there,
Yeah, I
20.
mean, he didn't have a key signature win last year that
Yeah,
really would have put him in the top 15, and he kind of, like you said, lost to all those guys that are currently in the top 10 or 15, and so yeah,
yeah,
he would not have been super high
yeah.
if if in at all. He was a really good recruit coming out of
Yes,
high school,
I remember him.
Super 32 champ, I'm pretty sure. So he was definitely a guy we knew potential was there, but we hadn't seen it from him yet. But now with the win over Nico Provo and with Virginia Tech being like, hey, it's worth it to pull your Olympic red shirt, he's going to be in the mix. And with the chaos of 125, at least from what we've seen right now, he's a title threat.
Yeah, yeah. It was just crazy to say.
Crazy to say.
I'm gonna say that's too crazy.
Why?
Too crazy.
A
Too
threat.
crazy.
He's a threat. I'm not
No.
saying he's the
He's got to put
favorite.
some wins together. He's got to put some wins together before we do that.
Right now, I'm saying he's a threat until he's proven otherwise.
Yeah.
Now, there are like 10 to 15 threats to win a title at this weight.
Okay, that's fair.
But
That's fair. Man, you got a lot of picks here. I guess I scrolled down and I got a little intimidated by your list of picks.
hey, Collegiate Duals today and tomorrow in Nashville. They're going to be great. So there's two pools
Yes.
at play, and then so your first
Cornell
pool.
versus Iowa State. Is that the best duel here?
That's the best duel. That's going to be the finale at 6 p.m. Eastern. At 6 p.m., there's actually 4 duels going on. And Cornell, Iowa State, NC State,
Wait, no,
Ohio
no.
State.
There's 2, and then 2 are tomorrow.
Yes, you're right.
Yes.
I misread the
2
schedule.
at 6 p.m. today,
Day
2
one,
at
day
6
two.
p.m. tomorrow.
Yep. So luckily, we don't have to split screen it.
There we go.
We can focus on Iowa State, Cornell at 2 p.m. today. Cornell, Little Rock, Pitt, Iowa State. 4 p.m. Cornell, Pitt, Little Rock, Iowa State, and then 6 p.m. Cornell, Iowa State, Pitt, Little Rock. Where do we want to start?
Well, let's go to. I mean, so let's just run through these picks. You got Cole Matthews as a 2.5-point underdog against Vince.
No,
Cornell.
favorite.
I misread. My bad. You have him as a favorite. Well, I was gonna say it's gonna be closer to 2.5, anyways. So I will stick with that, and I will say, I'm picking Cornell against the spread,
I'm going to go.
and he could win for sure, also too.
Yes, I was a little disappointed in his CKLV performance.
I agree.
Matthews had a really rocky start, but is coming off a huge win over Jesse Mendez, where I thought he looked okay. He did get ridden for quite some time. I don't think Cornella is going to be able to ride him, though. He's pretty good at turning.
He is good. He is tough on top, but yes,
He is tough, but I think Matthews is going to be able to get away, and he's going to win this on a takedown. So I could see him winning like 5-2, but I'll go Matthews to cover.
Okay, that is fair. And CP will mail in his picks.
He will. He
Sure
just wanted to listen to the show this morning. He very conveniently had a flight or something this morning, but he's going to get away with hearing all our intellectual insight that he does not possess, and then he can make his picks off of that.
Man, okay, Pitt, Iowa State. You got to pick them. Echemendia versus Matthews.
Mm-hmm.
That's a tough one. So Edgemendia should not go down against Cole Matthews.
Right.
And Cole Matthews will be very defensive as he generally is. Um, I'm gonna go with Edgemendia gets one takedown to win, and he's probably gonna win 3-2.
I feel similarly. There's definitely a scenario where Matthews wins on like 101 of riding time. He's pretty good. He's classic Pennsylvania. Like those Pennsylvania kids are so good at just like winning those 2-1 matches that go to tiebreakers. I think because they get in them from their PJW days. But Etchemendia, too good on the feet, offensively, defensively. He wins the takedown battle 1-0 or 2-1. Doesn't have to go underneath Cole Matthews, and he wins this one close.
Okay, I like it. So I took Etchemendia, and you took Cole Matthews.
No, I took Etchemendia too.
You sure?
I'm sure.
Matt, I thought you said they were good at winning these close ones.
I said he is good at winning these close ones, but then I said Etchemendia too good on his feet offensively and defensively. He doesn't get.
Hey, do you think we're gonna see? I'm scrolling through your pick. Do you think we're gonna see Carver's Ramirez again?
I would assume so.
Dude, you know what sucks? Can I tell you what sucks?
Hit me.
If Julian Ramirez sits this one out to say I got a David Carr win, that's gonna suck.
That is
right, because that could happen go for NCAA seeding, because I don't know who they're gonna see in the second half, but I got to assume based on rankings, they're not gonna see an EIWA guy not that
Ogun
highly
Sanya's the next top guy from Columbia. So I don't know if Cornell
or maybe it's Mulvaney. Mulvaney beat Ogun Sanya.
He did. Mm-hmm. So I mean, the AWA's got a couple tough 165 pounders. I don't know Cornell's schedule, so I don't know if they duel Bucknell and or Columbia. But
dang, you left Ramirez and Olejnik behind David Carr. Interesting.
Well, I mean, it's because David Carr beat Keegan twice last season.
Yeah,
and is an NCAA champ, so I think that gives him enough resume.
That's fair.
To stay at number 2, and those guys have taken losses in the past year, last year that we thought didn't quite warrant jumping over David.
That's fair. Okay.
And it's why I got
distracted. That happened.
And it's why I made David a favorite here, despite the fact that he has lost to Ramirez this year. I still made him a 3.5-point favorite.
That is a bold move there, and I will pick again. I mean, I know he's going to be motivated to go get it back, but it's a lot of points right there.
It's not as many points as you think it is with the 3-point takedown.
Obviously, yeah, the takedown's worth a little more, but I still think he would have to take him down multiple times and not get taken down in order to win by 3.5. Oh, you're picking Carr.
I'm going Carr. I think he covers.
Bold move. All right. You got
something like 6-2.
I picked Etchemendia.
7-3.
And you picked Cole Matthews.
I did not. Quit putting words in my mouth.
You're trying to get you to switch it. All right. Unger versus so are we doing specifically Unger versus Kyson Tarakina?
Yep.
It would be kind of interesting if we did the picks and just said this is the match at 125, right? And so then you got to also factor in what is the likelihood that the best guy on their team shows up at that weight class.
I think with these it's fairly likely.
Okay. All right. So I would go. I'm gonna go Kyson Tarakina. He had a good performance against Eric Barnett where he kind of beat him up. He did not have a good Vegas. I'm gonna say he bounces back.
Brett Unger sometimes wins close ones, but I think Unger gets a turn to open things up a little bit. Wins. I'll go by 4.
Okay. Okay, we're going opposite a bunch there. All right, Vito versus Frost. I'm going Vito.
Yeah, sure. I made Vito a 7.5-point favorite. Probably could have busted that one open a little bit more. Frost has been tough this year, but I've seen a lot of Iowa State fans already really singing the praises of Frost, which is partially deserved, but he hasn't beaten the top tier guy. Yeah, Brody Teske is his best win. Teske was a top 10 guy, so Frost is ready to push for All-American status, but he's
weight class he's kind of thin.
It's kind of thin. That's what I'm saying. When he made the CKLV finals, he really didn't have to beat anybody super tough. So that's why I'm pumping the brakes a little bit on Frost. And just that I want to see.
Well, I think he can sneak in All-American, so maybe don't pump the brakes on that. But when it's like these top, I don't know where you want to do the cutoff, whether it's after Nagawa at 4 or maybe Latona at 6. But Cannon's kind of been all over the place. Kolioko, same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got Frost at 9s, and Rennie at 10 has lost to a bunch of 11's lost to a bunch of people, and so has Buzakis. So yeah. Kind of drops off hard there.
For sure. So that's why, and that's kind of what I meant more in that I think Frost really fits into this weight nicely because it's not an incredibly deep weight class. I'm not saying Frost isn't a good wrestler. Yeah. He's tough, but I need more than one Brody Teske win to say you're a really, really top tier D1 wrestler.
Yeah, because Teske got put on the bench and they started calling Shriver in their last one.
Yeah, like we said, that's kind of a roster battle now. I mean, it seems like Teske's still probably going to be the guy unless Shriver can beat him, but it's at least interesting now. So we both have veto by bonus, I think, somewhat easily. What do you think about this line, though? Echemendia, 4.5 points favorite over Vince Cornella.
Didn't he whoop him at
CKLV? He whooped him. He beat him by like 10. It was like 13-3 or something like that.
So normally I would say that I would have thought it was gonna be close, but given the fact that he whooped him so bad already, I gotta go with Echemendia to do some type of repeat of that. But if you would asked me the same question, the same line right after Bartlett versus Cornella, I would have said, dude, are you crazy?
Right?
Like, there's no way he's going to beat him that bad.
And that's why I do think it's not as bad as last time, but I still made the line literally less than half of what he beat him by at CKLV.
Yes.
So I think there's some regression to the mean, but regression to the mean could still be losing by 5 points.
Yes. Yeah, I agree.
Which makes this tricky for me. And I'm going to go Echemendia by 2 takedowns. So I think it is a 5-point win or something like that. Obviously, the key to the path to victory for Cornella is getting on top. Get one takedown, get on top, and try to work for a turn. So if he can get that first takedown and he can get it early, rack up 2 minutes of riding time, and maybe a turn, take some gas out of Echemendia, that can be a game changer. So not to get all Shane Sparks, the first takedown matters, but the first takedown could be big in this one, especially if it occurs early.
Hard.
I hate the stat like, oh, if you get the first takedown, you win.
It's a terrible stat.
Because you're just better if you get the first takedown.
You're just better. The better guy is going to get the first takedown. If 90+% of the time, because in a lot of matches they're non-competitive, right? So then the stat is so skewed to what it should be.
And no duh, if you score more points, you're more likely. Like if you score points, you're more likely to win.
Yeah. So I agree. Terrible statistic. So next one. Chittum versus Shapiro, which I was thinking this could have been. Wait, what?
This is the match of Collegiate Duals.
This could have been. Now remember, they're both of their senior years. Chittum did the it was funny because he reclassified, but then he gray shirted anyways. So it was weird. Like, why did you reclassify if you were just going to gray shirt? That's weird because You could have just said like I'm doing my senior year of high school, somewhere else. And then Shapiro did his senior year of high school at Cornell, essentially, right?
Right.
Had they both continued to compete in high school division stuff, there's a high likelihood they could have been like a 1-2 pound for pound in the class of 2023.
Mm-hmm.
So this would have been a huge match at like a who's number one or something like that. I think it still is, although it's lost its luster because they both did not place a CKLV, which was wild, of course.
Yes.
I I think it's gonna be competitive. I'm gonna say Shapiro gets up early and Chittum comes back and loses close. So he loses by 1 or 2, which covers the spread. So I'm going Chittum.
I made the line 2.5. I feel similarly. I'm taking Chittum. The points are making me pick Chittum. The question for me here is, so we saw Shapiro, really not look like himself on the backside. Lost to
Yes.
Northwestern. Can he get back to mentally, I'm the effing man, I'm the guy at this weight class, which I think we saw him at earlier in the year, and there might be a slight injury to Shapiro. I have no inside knowledge. I'm only saying this because we saw him take injury time at Journeyman, and then because he looked a little off there on
But
that
what was
backside.
injured though? That's what I was trying to figure out. Was it like a head thing? Like I was struggling with what exactly is hurt, like because it wasn't apparent that it was a singular body part.
Yeah, I think maybe
Did
knee.
you feel the same way?
A little bit, but I think it's knee. It could be absolutely nothing. I definitely think he was mentally shaken up after losing to Cardenas at CKLV. So, can he mentally get back to the right spot and bounce back? Because if not, I think Chittum is still going to be that dog that we've seen from him. I think we know what we're going to get with Chittum in this match a little bit more than Shapiro. Yes. But I'm going Chittum as well.
Yes.
Right. For me, like what I said, you said it's lost a little bit at the CKLV, but this is still the match I'm looking forward to the most from Nashville.
Boca.
We also saw Shapiro get tired against Cardenas, which could come into play, obviously, because Chittum's a goer.
Yep, Chittum's a goer. Boca versus, oh my gosh, how am I blanking on his name? The guy that went from Clarion. Help me out here.
Feldkamp.
This is a fun one. Boca had a not great performance at CKLV. I'm still going to go with Boca. I'll go regression to mean. I know Feldkamp is dangerous. I think Boca can navigate some of those danger points and come out on top.
It wasn't just a bad CKLV for Foca. It was a completely bizarre CKLV. He lost to, he got majored by Zirov from Colombia and then lost to Sam Wolf, which, I mean, Sam Wolf is tough, don't get me wrong, but definitely not a guy I would have expected Chris Foca to lose to. And it's weird because that's basically the only results we have from him at 184.
Yeah, well, he wrestled at the Madtown Open and got 2 tech falls and a pin. So, that would have, it wasn't super competitive. They weren't good guys. So, we were all expecting really, really good things out of him because if you look at really his last couple years, I don't believe he has any super drop-off performances like this. And I know even a couple years ago he maybe was dealing with some injury.
Yeah,
I'm looking through it. I guess a loss to Jake Logan. He lost 5-2 to Jake Logan.
He was definitely
besides that,
up.
like if he lost, it was like a 3-2. I got a 10-3 loss, but that's against Carter Starocki. Oh, here's one. I got one. I found one. It was and I remember us talking about this match on this show. Because remember talking about how good Foca was in his red shirt. It was a great shirt.
Neil Richards lost from Scuffle.
He got tech fall by Neil Richards, and I remember we were all like, "What in the hell just happened there?"
That one is bizarre.
That was a bizarre one. But that's his only one, right? That's his only one in, right? What's that? 2020. So that was like what four seasons ago.
Mm-hmm.
100 matches or so. It's his only really off result. So it's not like he's team Space Mountain. It's like no, that was that Neil Richards. That's an exception to the rule. And so it's
Yep.
like, what happened at Vegas?
I don't know, but because Feldkamp is kind of one-dimensional,
Yes.
that gives me more confidence in picking Foka. I mean, Feldkamp just doesn't really have any leg attack, any solid
does
leg
not
attack.
shoot.
No, he cannot.
Yes.
It was incredibly frustrating in the Gabe Arnold match when you're like, dude, what are you doing? Double overs isn't working. Why do you keep
Yeah.
locking
And this
it up?
is something Feldkamp's got a great feel, JD, for these positions. And who was the one guy he pinned? It was at
Munoz?
Vegas. Who?
Munoz.
Munoz in that crazy one where he kind of went over the top.
Yep.
He's a great feel for landing on top and hitting people. But when you're at a Clarion and you're not a big name, no one's going to be paying attention, and so you're going to catch a lot of people by catching them off guard in positions they shouldn't be in. And he had a lot of pins, and now everyone's going to be saying Will Feldkamp is an All-American, and they're going to be studying him. And they're going to say, just like you, he can't shoot.
Yep.
He can't shoot. Keep your arms in. Gabe Arnold, right?
Yeah.
Right? Red alert, elbows in, don't let him overhook you. And, fire when you see the opportunity because he's not going to be firing back.
Shout out Wesley. Yeah, no, and I think very highly of Coach Gray and company in Ithaca, so I think they're going to be able to put a good plan and get Foka right again, and I'm picking Foka too.
I'm picking Foca also. We got a lot of picks today. I like it.
I know, we got to keep it rolling. I actually haven't run through the Iowa State-Cornell duel in my head, but it's going to be
That's a
close.
good duel, bro, because heavyweight is going to be fun. You didn't put that in the picks, but that's going to be a fun match also.
Yeah, I feel like Bastida's kind of separated himself from Fernandez a little bit.
Fernandez is good. What I mean, didn't
he beat him last year at
bump up last year? They
97?
had a really
Yeah,
competitive
the
match?
triple bump. Yeah, it was like 4-2 last year,
Yeah.
but now with Bastida and his extra size and
beef.
his performance at Sea Kelby, I think shows it. So let's run through this one quick before, because there's a good chance this one is almost like a criteria match.
Who, the Iowa State Cornell duel?
Yeah. So
Let's see. But we got different picks a couple times because we went different on 25 and we went different on 65. And I went, well, we both went different ways. I went Iowa State once and Cornell once, and you went the other way once. But I picked Ramirez to lose by less than that. I did not pick him to win. And I guess I would say the same thing of Tarquina. I don't know that I'm picking him to win, but I can have him lose by 1, 2, or 3 and still win. So I think probably Cornell for the duel.
Yeah, and when you think about it, bonus opportunities, it's probably in favor of Cornell with Vito, Cardenas at 97.
Well, 97 Cardenas should be able to get bonus, you would think.
Yep, you would think. And guys like 65 for Iowa State, Carr maybe can push for the major, but I don't think so. I mean, we just saw him lose to Ramirez, so.
Yes.
So I think it's unlikely Iowa State picks up too many bonus point victories unless Feldkamp can pull a pen out of his ass.
Who is Cornell's guy at 74? They have no one ranked.
Yeah, they've been, I think, mixing up a little bit. Benny Baker.
I don't know Benny Baker.
Is who I think they've been rolling with. Let me look at some of their past results here.
So I got Cornell 25, Cornell 33, 49. So I got 41 Iowa State, 49 Iowa State, 57. I picked Chittum, but he could also lose by 1 or 2.
I hope they start this duel at 65. and it
That would
comes
be
down
great.
to 57.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Yeah, I don't know. This duel is kind of a toss-up.
It could come down to 57, which makes that match even more fun. Okay, let's move on. Day 2. Let's start with the big one, NC State versus Ohio State. That'll be at 6 p.m. Eastern on Tuesday. Let's start with 133. Kai Orini versus Nick Bouzakis. I made Orini a 5.5-point favorite.
I think that's fair. I'm gonna go with who? What am I going? Bouzakis.
He's
I'm gonna
dropped
go
some matches
Bouzakis to
big this
cover.
year.
Yeah, so he lost to who did he lose? He lost to Tyler Knox on the front side, and it wasn't really all that competitive. He did have a tough backside where he came back and won 4 or 5 matches in a row. He lost close to Latona, who he did get killed by
He pinned Cardinal,
Pittsburgh
though,
kid.
from South Dakota State, who's tough.
Oh man, maybe not. Well, he lost to Rini by 6. He lost by Santaniello by 7.
But he beat Centennial in the
I
duel
mean, I could beat
last week,
him.
so
That is a tough
he's a
one
little
right there.
Space Mountain-y.
I'll go Arini.
I'm going Arini to
He's
cover.
he's pretty consistent. The only thing here is though sometimes he doesn't score a ton of points. No, I lie. I'm gonna go Bouzakis.
Okay.
I'm going Bouzakis. Final answer. I was
Lock
a
it
little
in.
all over the place on that one.
I'm
I
still
don't know.
going.
That's a good lie, JD, because I can feel it both ways.
Yeah, I think I'm picking Orini based off of I think highly of Orini. I'm not super down on Bouzakis. I think he's still going to be a tough wrestler, but Orini's just really solid, and I think there's potential. Bouzakis he's down by like 3 and is going for a takedown or something big late and gives up a junk time takedown to give Orini a large major decision.
Yeah, well, that could be the case for sure.
Am I giving Jesse Mendez too much credit for putting him as a 4.5-point favorite?
No, I was gonna say I'm picking Jesse Mendez because I think he is gonna be. He actually feels so. I don't like this stuff generally. This is more like a Shane Sparks territory, but like he just lost. He's gonna feel motivated to try to smash here. He did a lot of smashing at CKLV, so I am gonna pick him to win by a couple takedowns.
He beat Jack 5-2 in Vegas. I actually feel kind of similarly, which is why I bumped up the line 1.5 from their Vegas match. I was going back and forth on my head in this one, but I'm going to go Mendez big. He is definitely a guy who I think will have that motivation to go, like you said, go get some extra points, take out some anger and some aggression from his loss to Cole Matthews. So, both going Mendez.
All right. You got to pick them on D'Amelio versus Arrington. I believe they wrestled it, and I believe it was very close.
It was a 1-point match, I believe.
Yeah. And it was a lot of scrambles. They're both tough mat wrestlers. 9-8, Dylan D'Amelio. Man, I watched that match, but I'm not remembering it super well right now. I'll go Dylan D'Amelio. He does seem to find a way to get his hand raised quite a bit.
I'll go Arrington, just because I think these two guys are basically equal. This time it just goes Arrington's way. No smart logic behind that decision. Just going with it.
Okay. 184. We got Dylan Fishback, Gavin Hoffman. I know where I'm going. I thought Gavin Hoffman, I was excited for him going down to 184. But he has not been great at 184. He's 4-3. He lost to Reese Heller, he lost to Jaden Bullock, and he lost to Sam Wolf. That means I'm going the other way.
I am too. Could be regression to the mean performance, but Fishback's tough. I don't see it. He's explosive. Could be a bad matchup for
Yes.
Hoffman. I'm going Fishback.
So okay, we're both going Fishback. Heavyweight. So we have Nick Feldman and NC State's probably gonna roll Owen Treffen.
Yep.
Um,
I'm going Treffen. Nick Feldman's just not there yet. And Treffen's tough.
Treffen's tough. Yeah, I mean, I could see it going either way. Um, I'll go Treffen also. Feldman, who knows? Maybe he's gonna surprise us at some point, but he has not had those great wins yet.
No, he has not.
He was close with Pitt. Am I right on this or no?
Pitzer?
How was the Pitzer? No, he didn't wrestle Pitzer, did he?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I mean, he lost 8-1 to Fernandez, who I feel like is pretty equal to
Treffen.
So
yeah. Okay. No,
moving on.
He beat Fernandez 8-1.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah, you got that one backwards.
I got that one backwards.
But he injury defaulted out against Tega Haldi.
No, I think that's wrong. I'm pretty sure he got teched. I watched that match.
It says injury 5.
I know. I think that match got like inputted wrong into Arena.
WrestleStat?
And then, well, I assume WrestleStat pulled it from the result from.
So you're saying Tega Haldi teched Nick Feldman?
Yeah, it was not close. It was a bunch of takedowns. It was like a 20-4.
What?
Situation. I watched it. I'm serious.
Are you crazy?
Go watch the match replay.
Tega Haldi tech-fold Nick Feldman.
Yes.
I did not watch that one.
Yes, I watched that one. It was
wow.
Because it was like consolation semis or something like that.
Isn't that so crazy? I mean, like, my brain kind of hurts sometimes, JD, when I'm thinking like Nick Feldman was like a pound for pound guy in high school. And so on the one hand, we're saying these high school guys, Connor Mirasola, Luke Lilladal, Aiden Valencia, these high school guys are beating, really high level NCAA placers, and then you have Nick Feldman, he was a pound for pound guy, and we're a couple years out of high school.
Yeah.
And he's kind of getting his butt kicked by some of these dudes.
I know.
It's like, it's hard for your brain to process all of it happening at the same time. And
some results just don't make sense either. And some guys, they really ride momentum a lot. Like a Braden Thompson was beating senior level dudes his senior year of high school, and tough ones at that. And he's not struggling yet, but
he went 0-2 at CKLV, so I would say Braden Thompson probably hasn't went 0-2 at very many tournaments in his entire life.
Exactly. And when you see guys beating, I don't know, college wrestling is just sometimes a different level.
Yeah, kind of wild. All right. Let's see, we got 2 picks left. We got Ryan Jack versus Cale Happel. But I would pick Ryan Jack, but you're giving him 3.5 points.
It's a lot of points.
And I want to pick Jack, but I kind of think that might be too many.
I was kind of feeling the same way. Happel's tough, but he is coming off a loss to Columbia.
But wasn't it like he got, what was that?
And
it was
Jack majored him at CKLV.
Okay, I'm going Ryan Jack. That's because I feel like I should be going Jack. I'm going to go Jack.
I feel like Happel doesn't normally lose super big, but I'm going Jack to cover this line as well with not a lot of confidence.
Okay.
I am actually somewhat confident in Parker covering this line. I feel good about Parker covering, picking up bonus here.
He's been pretty relentless this season, kind of in all of his matches, even the ones that were closer at CKLV. He was really pushing for bonus. He's at a 90% bonus rate. He bonus Feldkamp. Gavin Kane, he beat by 10, and that was, Feldkamp he was battling hard, but he was able to get it done. So I'm going bonus for Parker Keckheisen.
Me as well. All right, we've got 5 minutes, so we can get to
I got one question.
One question. You want, what is it?
Yeah. These guys are saying, I will not apologize. He says, can Ben apologize to the Iowa board for the constant Iowa hate? Listen, I have no Iowa hate. I am calling it like I see it. And that's what I always do. And I know some people might not like that, and they might want a more charitable view of whatever it is I see. I do not have bias. I call it like I see it. If I see someone do something good, I say I think that's good. If I see someone do something bad, I say that's bad. I don't have a bias. So no, I won't apologize. There is no hate. I'm indifferent, uh, emotionally to what's happening. I just try to call it like I see it.
I have one question for you as well. I want to ask Jamie, asking, what is your thoughts on morning practices for high school wrestlers?
Ooh, great one.
He puts in once a week during the holidays. Maybe chime in on that. But also, I just want to know kind of overall philosophy on a high school coach implementing morning practices.
Yeah, well, it's tough, right? Because you only have a certain amount of time. I would generally lean against them. I think sleep habits of teenagers are not great. And I already think the school day started too early. I remember me personally, and bro, I fell asleep so many times in high school because we started at 7:20. Too early.
That's
Too
absurd.
early. I was
That's
not
absurd.
ready to get
Even
up.
for high school, that's like the earliest I've ever heard.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And so, I mean, honestly, in all honesty, they probably should be moving high school back to like an 8:30 or 9 o'clock start if we actually look at the
Oh,
research on.
100%.
Yeah, totally should be starting later. Teenage sleep habits, like move the damn start time back. So early morning practice, I think, are probably be more counterproductive than productive for the majority of people. So I would probably not do it. But you said if it's over the holiday break, then you could do a 9 a.m.
Yeah.
or a 9:30 a.m. and it's not a big deal. But yeah, I mean, with my high school, Messenbrink did have John, who was my high school coach. We had morning runs twice a week at the last 6 weeks, I think, so I think it was like I want to say like a 6 or 6:15 start. And that was, luckily I lived close to the high school because that was really early. But I remember my parents were very reasonable. And there was days when they would, and listen, I did well enough in school. It wasn't like I was failing in classes, but they would let me. I would say, hey, I'm feeling it. 7:20 is too early. They'd say, okay, miss the first couple hours and go in at 9:15 or 9:30 or whatever it is, and I would get a couple extra hours of sleep. And I really needed it. So sleep depriving teenagers, not good. They should already start the high school days later than they do right now. So I would not be a fan of morning practices.
Now, so would you recommend for a high school wrestler only getting one workout in per day of practice? Because for some kids, like that is asinine that you would only get one workout in per day.
Yeah, just make it a little longer, right? Just spend a little more time. We had longer high school practices, and especially, I mean, the best would be dividing them by skill level, maybe one or two ways. But if, in the beginning of the season, more technical stuff, right? You're spending more time on technique because you're getting them together as a group for the first time, right? You probably haven't coached them much in the off season. And then towards the end, you're shortening the practice and you're ramping up the intensity and more drilling, more sparring, and more live wrestling. That's probably the formula that I would follow. And then, maybe if they want to listen, try to have them bear some responsibility and say like, hey, I need you guys to get an extra run in. And if you want to if you're going to wake up early guy and you want to do it at 6 a.m., do it at 6 a.m. If you're a stay up late guy and you want to do it at 8:30, do it at 8:30. I don't care. Get it done, And the way I try to tell all my guys is like, listen, this is your journey. This is not my journey. I am going to be as good of an assistant to you in your journey as possible. But if I say you need to run extra or whatever it is extra you need to do, that's on you. If you're choosing not to make these sacrifices, that's on you, right? This is your responsibility. It is your journey. You're living it, not me.
I agree. And with that, it's 10 o'clock, so we got to go.
This was our journey.
This was our journey. We will be back to journey with you on Thursday to talk about all those good matches we previewed from Collegiate Duals.
All right.
See y'all then.